Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface-level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind-the-scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
We're in Way Media. Welcome back, Midnight viewers, to Father Malone's Weekly Roundup. I'm Father Malone, and I swear I'm taking next week off. Hell, I was not going to record this one at all, so if it's not the usual length, hard cheese, I say. But then I saw today's topic last night, and I figured it deserved a shout-out. Other than that, how are you all? Oh, shit, that's right. Ripley Jean is here. She's been going nuts over the landscapers. There she goes again. I finally watched the Predator Badlands trailer. I could wait no longer. Not disappointed. Way too excited. I think I've reached no place to go but down with my enthusiasm. It looks fucking great, man. Elle Fanning is an android stuck Ichuta C-3PO on Bespin style on the back of a young Predator. And he fucking spoke, and I loved it. Please be good. Even if it's not good, I'm basking in the glow of cinematic possibility from now until then. Movies aren't doomed. That's right. I'd love to tell you about some new show or video game, but it's been a production weekend, editing and recording and doing artwork and getting ready for that big show in October here in Las Vegas at the Silverton Casino. You like stickers, kid? All right, but I better never see them on your ma's house. Everybody get a sticker. Come get a midnight viewing sticker from me at the midnight viewing space at the Nightmare in Vegas Horror Convention and Car Show, October 4th and 5th. I'll be there both days, and with me, speaking of stickers, direct from Beantown will be frequent collaborator HP. He's my oldest friend and brother from a freak electrical disturbance that took place outside Las Cruces, New Mexico in 1946. And also not from Beantown, but from Nebraskaville, host of the CultureCast, Chris Stashew, will be lurking. He'll be lurking everywhere at the convention. Is he in a hot rod? Could be. Have I mentioned that the Silverton Casino has a bowling alley inside an Airstream trailer inside the casino? Maybe he'll be in there, throwing rocks. Should I wear my priest collar and fuck with everyone's vibe at the convention? That is my question to you, listeners. Links are below in the comments and show notes section. You know that. I have twice now extolled the virtues of Alien Earth, and my pal Ian Banks in Scotland has pointed out that I have twice failed to mention the fucking legend Adrian Edmondson. He plays Boy Cavalier. It's Boy, right? Right, good girl. He plays Boy Cavalier's right-hand man. I didn't recognize him because he's bald and old and displaying a quiet menace just as frightening as the xenomorph, which is new to me considering I'll always see him with ginger spikes and stars chiseled into his forehead as Vivian Bastard, the punk representative of the house on the seminal British comedy The Young Ones. There, now I've set things right. I did spend a considerable amount of time this weekend at thrift stores. I picked up a bunch of stuff, including these fucking awesome bookends that are 50s-style retro rocket ships. I keep buying bookends. I do not understand why. There is never going to be a scenario where I have extra bookshelf space. If there's a shelf, it's crammed with books. And I need them to the edge and beyond, brother. But I keep buying these super cool bookends with the false notion that one day there'll be a shelf long enough. Actually, the coolest bookends I got as a gift from my friend Josh. Have you met Josh? No, you haven't, because if you did, you'd be just like the rest of us, his circle of friends, quote-unquote, mercilessly abusing the privilege of knowing the Las Vegas answer to MacGyver. Anyway, around the time Captain America Civil War came out, Josh, knowing what a Captain America freak I am, gave me these awesome Cap and Iron Man bookends, where it's Stark blasting on one end and Cap shielding on the other. They are so cool. I wish I could use them. How fucking random is this? I found a book about Amicus Pictures at a thrift store. Out of the blue. The day after I reached out to an Amicus podcast. If this is a sign, they have yet to respond. But thankfully I did spend a goodly portion of the weekend reading about Freddie Francis and Milton Subotsky. But when I wasn't doing that, I was watching the DVD that I picked up for $1. It's called Every Breath You Take, the DVD. Just being a DVD wasn't enough of a sign that it's from the early 2000s. It went and spaceballed itself. It's a collection of music videos from The Police, starting in 1979 and ending when they did in 1986. It is a bare bones, yo. Just the videos and then some live performances at Montserrat, including Demolition Man. People do know that was a song first, right? Murder, death, kill, indeed. I love watching movies from the past that take place in the future, which is now our past. Demolition Man took place in 2018. Blade Runner was 6 years ago. Snake Plissken escaped New York back in 97. And that's all he ever did. Period. This Police DVD ain't quite an 8-track, but here's some signs of its antiquity. It had the booklets in the case still, plural. 2 booklets. Not only the, hey, here's a DVD you bought, and here's the chapters, and we'll never see each other again official insert, but it also has the catalog extolling the virtues of the digital versatile disc. It's versatile, not video, dummies. Nomenclature matters. And what treasures are being offered? Well, I'm glad you asked. These are all music DVDs. You can get Ask a Woman Who Knows by Natalie Cole. She took some time off from ghoulishly puppeting her dad's corpse and put out a DVD. With what features? Again, glad you asked. As seen on public television. That's listed as a special feature. How about The Gin Blossoms, just south of nowhere? If you love Rhinophyma or 90s alternative lame-o rock, you're in luck. 17 live songs from Chicago, 5 previously unreleased. 3-song soundcheck, and they say 3 is a magic number. Yeah, it is. It's a magic number. You'll get 3 different videos for their song, Hey Jealousy. If the first one doesn't make you kill yourself, number 2 is just waiting. And if you survive that, well, 3rd time's the charm. What else? The Jam, the complete Jam, 2-disc set. 34 European television performances, 31 music videos. Fuck, this actually sounds pretty good. Note to self, or note to you audience, get the Jam DVD. If you listen to this show with any regularity, you know I think nostalgia is a fucking trap. And for the past quarter century, just another way for a bunch of greedy fucks to make money. So I don't spend a lot of time wistfully remembering a goddamn other time or place. But I'm not made of wood, people. I enjoy a reappraisal of some work that was important, or not, in your previous life. In the case of The Police, I was reminded how important they were to me in my appreciation of music. But after rewatching these videos, I think I may have to thank Mr. Sumner, Summers, and Stewart. Why weren't they all wearing Superman S-shirts on stage? I may have to thank them for more than keeping my young ears and eyes diverted. Synchronicity wasn't the first vinyl LP I owned. I had a pretty good library going by the age of 10, mostly soundtracks. Pop music was fine, but what were they compared to the emotional journey of a film score? I ask you! But every album, regardless of genre, were gifts. Synchronicity I sought out, with my own money, independently of everyone. As I get older, I think we overall paint the things that changed our perceptions as being more innovative than they were overall. I don't know if that's the case here, but as an example, people give way too much credit to Quentin Tarantino for fracturing the narrative timeline in Pulp Fiction. Citizen Kane is a fractured timeline. And it's a narrative. Pulp Fiction is an anthology. Did I mention that nomenclature matters? Look, maybe I just can't experience joy in the past. Is it me? Or is it that everyone was wrong then and you're still wrong now? Yeah, thank you, Ripley. I am right. And you're right about me being right. So, there I am, cross-legged on the floor in front of my Fisher-Price record player, made of plastic, stronger than most cars produced in 2025, watching the tricolor label spin endlessly and reading along to stories of romantic obsession and existential crisis and the spiritus mundi, the notion of the collective consciousness that unites poets and writers as popularized by William Butler Yeats. I didn't have to look that up now because I did when I was 10. I found myself doing that a lot listening to the Police. Now look, before I start heaping praise and admiration and thanks on Mr. Sting, I do want to say, without Andy Summers and Stuart Copeland, Sting would have been a clever singer-songwriter who never rose beyond David Gray levels of success, commercially and otherwise. And I fully agree with Stuart Copeland that it's a fucking disastrous missed opportunity that this trio didn't come together every so often and just continue to be the Police. Because they were that good. And if not innovative, definitely influential. So, Sting, Gordon, Mr. Sumner, he's kind of an odd kettle of fish. Remember those leather bikini briefs he had for his steam bath as a Harkonnen? I will never say Harkonnen, other than to make fun of that bullshit choice. Frank Herbert was on the set of the David Lynch Dune. He heard them say Harkonnen. He did not correct them. Nomenclature pronunciation matters too. I don't know where you fall on Sting. I think if you were a fan of the Police, you could see 10 Sumner's tails on the distant horizon. It was faint, but you knew it was coming. And that's where I think I parted ways with him. That blonde snake began eating its own tail there. But my God, the Police! The furious, youthful writing of the man. From 78 to 83, just an explosion of not just that great music. He wasn't getting anywhere without his fellow police officers, but his melodies have always been strong. But the poetry and the language, the nomenclature. I can't think of any other bit of entertainment that had me scurrying to the bookshelf just to figure out what the fuck was being said with the sheer regularity of a police record. And we're talking dictionaries and encyclopedia. In this prehistoric age before computers, if you wanted to know, you really had to want to know. I learned din, litany, belch, preen, pout, looming, and those are just from one song. Synchronicity 2. Whatever I'd end up thinking of Sting and his tantric sex nonsense, that motherfucker made me curious about language and how you didn't have to settle for less because it was popular. Remember that study in 2015 where they determined pretty much every genre of popular music was lyrically at about a third grade reading level? That was for music contemporary to then, but I think it probably holds true no matter the decade. At least the Police rose up to high school levels of poetry, with occasional forays into annoying sophomore year philosophy student land. Not only did it give me that curiosity, it made me fucking hustle to understand it, which is not a bad trait to pick up from a 33 1/3 spinning vinyl disc. The curiosity and the will to fulfill it, that I pretty much knew about myself when I put on this DVD and watched as the admittedly mostly uninspired music videos played across a television that 10-year-old me would have, well, I just wouldn't have believed the size of the thing. What I don't think I realized, and what I really owe to Sting, is a debt of gratitude for that one particular tune, Synchronicity 2. On its surface, it's just a guy wakes up, has breakfast, deals with the family, goes to work, hates work, goes home. But the chorus, if you can call it that, is a parallel plot about a creature awakened or created at the bottom of a Scottish loch that drags itself onto shore before descending on a nearby house. Now, thanks to the seemingly endless research Sting was putting me through, my tiny brain was able to make the connection of this suburban man's endless frustration and the potential creation of something animate and deadly that has been loosed upon the world. And that imagery really struck home the distrust of suburbia and the fucking 9 to 5 we've all just taken as standard and the way of all things. I think Sting inspired more of a punk rock ethos in my mind than the Sex Pistols ever could. They just wanted to tear shit down. Sting was warning us, with poetry. Suburbia was deferment of dreams. I couldn't wait to get out. So, thank you, Sting, and Andy, and Stuart. Have you ever heard Stuart Copeland's Strange Things Happen to a Man on the Road? Now you have.
Strange things happen to a man on the road. Strange things happen to a man who's alone. Back home you got a solid life. That life don't mean a thing out here. Back home you got a loving wife. She can't hear you calling out here. Strange things happen. Strange things happen. Strange things happen that you never heard about at home.
Hit it, HP.
Come and listen to a dog that's hip. Here we go, it's Riff Picks, yeah!
Thank you, HP. You know, the number 10 name for the new Rolling Stones tour is Van Full of Grandpas. That's a joke from 1994. And they're touring right now. Anyway, Deferred Dreams. That's what we're talking about here. Really, we're talking about a fairly bitter novel that became a jet black, near slapstick comedy, and now a more nuanced meditation on marriage and partnership in the things we do for each other, and more importantly, the things we don't do for ourselves. This is The Roses.
For you, dear, I'd do anything.
I do believe that's true.
It really is.
Theo Rose, my favorite architect. How's married life?
The kids are amazing.
We're going to the beach!
All right, don't drown. Ivy, it's a monster success.
Would you do a photo shoot for New York Magazine?
Nude?
I don't think so.
Oh, I'll do it anyway.
But you are still a failure.
You got fired.
Fired?
I sense trouble.
How was your day?
The neighbour's dog shat in the laundry. The kids have got knit together. My left eye's twitching.
More champagne for me, please?
If you need a shoulder or an inner thigh to lean on.
What?
I'm kidding.
Everybody seems to think
We hate each other? I suppose sometimes I do hate you. Sporadic hatred.
it's infused with tarragon. It adds a bit of bitterness.
Ivy likes to leave a little bit of herself in everything she does.
I love this fun banter you guys do.
Sometimes Ivy's mad at me and I can't even tell.
Sometimes he's got his cock in me and I can't even tell.
We are done.
I say when we're done.
I just want the house. I built it.
Oh, you're not having the house.
We want everything. And he walks out of here with his face still attached. Right, Bruno?
Wow. You're a bottomless pit of need. You're just making me madder.
I get this wart.
Jesus, no.
Oh my
Things are getting a little out of hand.
Oh, you think?
I don't think you have the capacity to fix your problems.
Are you actually allowed to say that?
That seems unprofessional.
Yes, like malpractice.
Ah, we'll be expecting a hefty discount.
Yes, it is a remake of War of the Roses, despite such a clever concealment. Although you can't really call it a remake. And I don't mean that in the John Carpenter's The Thing way either. This isn't a proper interpretation of a previously misguided adaptation of a book. The Roses isn't giving us anything from the book that the first film failed to deliver. That film was fairly identical to the novel beat for beat. Not too surprising, considering its screenwriter, Warren Adler, was also the author of the novel. That's not always a sign of fealty to the source material, by the way. I've seen lots of authors take the screenplay as an opportunity to sweeten their book or story, and in some cases shatter my perception of whether an author himself understood what he had written. So badly had he mangled the screenplay. I'm talking about Ray Bradbury here. Great stories, not so great teleplays. But the story in the book is pretty much the story on screen. Oliver and Barbara Rose meet as students, fall in love, he continues Harvard Law School, she supports him. He becomes a lawyer, she makes a house and home and raises their 2 children. So the book and film are about those aforementioned deferred dreams in Barbara's case. Her life has been, for some time, nothing more than that house and its presentation and upkeep. When Oliver has a heart attack, Barbara, who, with the kids grown, has begun refocusing her energy on her own nascent career goals, finds herself not particularly concerned whether he lives or dies. And then a lifetime of resentment and bitterness and petty nonsense come flooding out in both directions, with the house the center of the whole bloody affair. In addition to being an examination of all the odd compromises and arguments and conflicts of a long-term relationship, the book, a little more than the movie it should be noted, is a skewering of materialism. It starts, like the Danny DeVito film, with our characters in competition at an auction. That's the equivalent of David Kessler in the back of a truck full of sheep at the beginning of An American Werewolf in London. Subtle, it's not. Remember, the book came out in 1981, which was prime commercialism will kill us times. Dawn of the Dead, hey, I think the mall has become really important to people times. How to beat the high cost of living times. Fun with Dick and Jane times. But that's really just the undercurrent of the novel. Both the book and the first film are dying to get to the fight, which means you can't get used to these crazy kids falling in love and experiencing the good times in equal measure with the bad. Mainly because the bad in question is the slow, diffident march of time. It's the drift from giddy romantic love to the banal, everyday, oh shit, this is work part of a relationship, which ain't for everybody. Certainly not for a careerist overall and a partner shoehorned into a traditional life that she accepted for the sake of that initial burst of butterflies and longing. Adler himself noted with much amusement that the most passionate and vocal proponents of both the novel and then getting the movie made had all been through divorces. Adler himself never had. He stayed happily married his whole life. War of the Roses was the 3rd time we'd seen Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, with a side of Danny DeVito, together on screen. That allowed for an awful lot of shoe leather to be dispensed with, as far as an audience getting used to these two getting to know each other and falling in love. The Roses is an odd duck. It's not a remake of War of the Roses, and it's certainly in no way a faithful adaptation of the book. If anything, War of the Roses would be the response to this early, freely adapted version. Yet I found the spirit of the book way more pointedly here. Yeah, the basics are still the same. We follow Barbara and Oliver Rose as they meet and fall in love. He has a career, she makes a home, they have 2 kids. They fracture, and they go to war with each other in the end. But that's where the similarities end. First, they got actors and not movie stars here, and ones without a history that we're aware of, so they in the film have to do the work to get us to love these 2. And they do. And it does. It fucking works. Benedict Cumberbatch reins in all his bombast and gives a quiet, funny performance, but it was probably easy to do considering he had Olivia Colman as Barbara Rose. And she is a fucking beast in any genre. Oliver here is an architect, and right about the time he's having a heart attack in both the book and original film, he has instead a spectacular career-ending disaster, forcing him to be the homemaker while Barbara turns her local crab shack into a culinary dynasty. Deferred dreams for all. And get this, unlike the book and first film, the kids aren't just props here. They're characters, with rich though unusual lives, and they become as crucial here as the house was in the first film. Rather than simply use the Act 1 breakdown as a flashpoint for the characters to go after one another for all their choices and actions previous to that moment, The Roses takes it as an opportunity for the characters to swap careers and points of view. Oh, they're gonna fight, don't worry. And as always, I'm keeping things brief and spoiler light for you, but yeah, they go at it in really interesting ways this time around. But by the time we get there, we understand. Totally. And they're both at fucking fault. See, that book and the original film are definite products of their time. And in that case, their generation. You know that nostalgia I hate so much? Guess who the main purveyors of it are in both experience and commodification? Fucking baby boomers. So that book and movie are as much about that entire generation waking up to the lie they'd all bought into. Happiness is married, house, 2 kids, car, waving to your neighbors from your barbecue. There will be no further complications in your life. So the only way to successfully adapt that book again would be to do it as a period piece. This bit of 21st century filmmaking sidesteps those obvious generational problems and instead doubles down on the characters and all the ways they fail to connect, even with shared experience. Even having walked a mile in each other's moccasins, even though they remain pretty damned reasonable throughout. The script is very funny, with Cumberbatch throwing away genuinely funny stuff like so much confetti. But I want to point out 2 SNL alumni that make up the secondary couple and best friends throughout. That's Andy Samberg and Kate McKinnon. I adore Andy Samberg. I've already gone on about my Lonely Island love, but he's also done tons of great work on his own. And not just comedy, though I have watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine at least twice. He's been doing a really good dramatic work. He's a little of both here, and his delivery got the 2 actual laugh-out-loud moments in this movie for me. Now listen, I fucking love Kate McKinnon. She was a force of nature on SNL. I liked her odd turn in Ghostbusters. She was really good as that fucked up Barbie in the Barbie movie. But her character here is just one fucking note. She's a horn dog. She wants to fuck. And we get that from her in every fucking scene. She pops up near the fucking climax and does it, completely derailing the film's rhythm. I'm not blaming her. She's doing her best, but once was enough, trust me. But that is my only real criticism of the movie. I'm still unpacking it in my mind in a lot of ways. I was unprepared for this film. Not what I expected from the auteur of Dinner for Schmucks and Austin Powers. This was an odd experience. I thought it was just going to be okay, maybe on par. I like this more than the original, which is weird given how fucking far afield from the book this one is. The heart wants what it wants, I guess. Sometimes that's an AI video of your spouse smoking crack that you send to all of his colleagues. Ah, l'amour. Aha, I said this week would be brief. But now I do want to say something very sincerely to everyone listening. July was the best month ever for this show as far as listenership goes, and I was proud and grateful. I realized that it was a fluke, and not to get my hopes up, and then fucking August demolished July. And that's because all of you all over the globe. I'm now pretty much doing this show as much as I'm doing the work they actually pay me for, so it's really gratifying to know that it's having some kind of an impact. But I would love money. Join the Patreon if you share my pro Father Malone cash in pockets stance. There you're getting shows early. For instance, you Yautja Fest Predator people will be hearing our take on Predators from 2010 at the end of the month. Patrons have had it since Saturday, so there you go. If you have questions or concerns or requests, I'm not above requests. I'll play a tune here for you, copyright be damned. Speaking of tunes, how can I go out with anything other than the Police? Although I could use Happy Together, it is the title track from this new Roses movie. That's twice in 1 year for that song. It's the year of the Turtles. Oh no, the Police!
Back like lemmings into shiny metal boxes. Contestants in a suicidal race. Daddy grips the wheel and stares alone into the distance. He knows that something somewhere has to break. He sees a family home now, looming in his headlights. The plane upstairs that breaks his many miles away, there's a shadow on the door of a cottage on the shore of a dark Scottish
Hey, this is Jason Kleberg from the Force 5 podcast, a show that forces a guest to come up with a movie-themed top 5 list topic, and then we reveal our picks on air. Top 5 heist films, top 5 tearjerkers, top 5 movie dogs. Every show you'll be asking yourself, what would be on my list? Guests include directors, screenwriters, actors, podcasters, musicians, authors, and even a professional wrestler. Subscribe to the Force 5 podcast, and you won't just be a listener, you'll be a list nerd. The Force 5 podcast, available wherever you're listening now.